Hello. I wanted to tell you guys about something that happened yesterday regarding a customer who wanted artwork, and they didn't request artwork or anything. It was just artwork that I had posted on Buy and Sell, and they wanted. It doesn't really matter what they wanted. I had a couple drawings up there. I have a bunch of drawings for sale, and I sell drawings, and I've been doing commissions. It's been good. Like I have no complaints about any of that stuff. But I wanted to talk about this person that I had met yesterday, and they messaged me the day before asking if I would hold a drawing for them, and I said, yeah, of course I'll hold a drawing for you. And it was like $50 I wanted for the drawing with a frame and all that stuff. And whatever. Yesterday comes and they're like, hey, I won't be there until 3 o'clock. I said, that's fine. Hold it for you, whatever. And then they messaged me throughout the day and they said, hey, I'm driving from Grand Prairie, and I said, holy man, that's like a 4.5, 5 hour drive. And I had said, are you driving just for this? Like $45, because we agreed on $45. And she was like, yeah, it's my husband's birthday. Well, I said, wow, man, that's a long drive for a $45 piece of art. And so I figured, this person's driving all the way, and I'll throw a couple drawings in, because that's a long way to go to get your husband a gift. That's pretty cool that a person's willing to do that. And so, I showed them some more artwork that I was willing to give away, and then I let them pick, and they had picked a couple drawings that they wanted. I said, perfect, I'll have them wrapped up for you. Got them wrapped up in the bubble wrap and wrapped it like a gift for her husband, so her husband wouldn't see it or whatever. And then throughout the day, they started asking me some questions, and I just thought it was kind of odd. And I got like a funny feeling about it, like something's up. But I am guilty of being cynical and skeptical. And so I sometimes I overthink. And so I thought, they're, whatever. It is what it is. Everything will be cool. And then there was the question of, hey, do you want an e-transfer or cash? And I had said, e-transfer is fine. Like I have auto deposit and whatever. And so there's like no risk with it. Or so I thought there was no risk with it. And they said, and then maybe half an hour later, I said, hey, I have $100 bill. Can you split the bill? And I thought, that's weird. This person said, e-transfer is the only thing they could do. But maybe they thought cash would be easier or something like that. And I thought, okay, whatever. Well, and I thought $100 bill, like I don't have the change to split $100 bill, because I didn't have the change to split $100 bill. And so I had to do the e-transfer. So I ended up checking out this person's profile, because I got, a little bit weirded out by all of this. And then, so I checked their profile and I saw, they're not my kind of person. They're not a person I would hang out with. But that doesn't mean anything. Like, I'm not going to judge this person just because I can't hang out with them. They're doing a cool thing for their husband. They're driving 5 hours for a piece of art. That's kind of cool. But anyway, so they show up, and this person doesn't look anything like the person in the pictures. And I was like, oh man, I got like whatever. So I introduced myself to them. She looked very rough, and her car was beat to hell. Like I thought, wow, man, you just drove all this way in that thing for your husband. Like that's a really nice thing that you're doing. And whatever. So I talked with them for a little bit. They show me a screen that shows the e-transfer as transferred. I confirm my email on the screen. It says it's been deposited into my account. I didn't question it or anything. I thought, I trusted this person. I said, okay, parted ways. She went her separate way. I went home. And then, I haven't gotten any money for it. But the thing is, this video isn't about, I'm shaking my fist at this person, because I thought about it. I waited and waited, and I was talking to my wife. I was talking to Kira about it, going, trying to go over in my head why a person would do that. But after seeing this person and seeing the state of this person's vehicle, I realized that it put a lot of things into perspective about my life, about life in general. And I feel pity for this individual. Like, I am not angry at this person. I spent probably 2 hours on all three of those drawings combined. I've been drawing since I was a kid. I can draw those drawings again, no problem. Someone else will buy them. Like, that's not the issue. They didn't really steal anything from me. They, the frame that they took was $15. So I'm out $15. And I just realized that this person's life must be hell. I could not imagine what it would be like to have to swindle people and to survive that way. You know, I have a kid who's awesome. I've just got married to a beautiful woman who's amazing. I got a promotion at work. I start in September. We are going to have the money we need to save for a house that we want. The car is running great. There's food in the cupboards. I don't know what it would be like to be that person. To have to and they probably aren't from Grand Prairie. They're probably not from, I don't know if they had to drive that far or anything like that. They could just be a master manipulator or whatever. I don't know. Not that you have to be a master manipulator to fool a person like me, but I just don't know what it would be. That person's life must be hell. And I did end up messaging them, just saying to them, I really hope you find the peace that you're looking for, because a person like that, to have to do these things to get by, to steal and lie and cheat, and that would be a horrible existence. That would be a horrible existence. And I thank God that I don't have to live like that. And I thank God that I was blessed with the people in my life that I have. And so I just thought I'd share this. And I don't know, before I kind of thought things weren't that great, but it's not, but like long before, not just before I met this person, because I've been selling artwork. I've been posting my artwork. It's been getting really good reactions. And I've had, like, I just sold a bunch of artwork last week, and it's been nice. I get messages every day, and whatever. And I'm grateful for that and everything. And the thing is, once I start my job in September, I'm not going to have time to do any artwork, and that's okay with me. But I just wanted to say that this has put things into perspective, and it was a blessing that happened, and it's not a negative thing that happened. It's a blessing when you meet someone like that, and something like that is able to teach you a lesson. And that person did teach me a lesson. Not only I won't ever trust the same on Facebook again. I'll be more, it's crazy to me that someone can go. I just thought about the lengths they're going to, the effort they're putting into deceiving people. If they put that effort into something that was constructive, they would go far. Like, to have an app on your phone, to have a thing on your phone that is basically like a hoax. That it showed my email. It showed that the money was deposited, blah, blah, blah. They had a confirmation of all that stuff. There was a loading screen. She showed me, like, she had a whole story. Like, this person, man, like, the effort, like, bravo to her, man. The effort that she went to trick me, like, that's pretty good. And I just think, but it must be a fucking nightmare to do that to people, to live inside that person's mind, to engage with the types of people she probably has to engage with on a daily basis, the things she probably has to do just to survive, the stories she has to keep up, the lies she has to keep up. That must be, I know that person is hurting inside. I know that person is living in hell. And I feel horrible for that person. And it's just 3 drawings, I gave her 2 drawings on the house. 2 drawings on the house. And I gave her 2 drawings on the house. And I gave her 2 drawings on the house. And I gave her 2 drawings on the house. And I gave her 2 drawings on the house. And I gave her 2 drawings on the house. And I gave her 2 drawings on the house. And I gave her 2 drawings on the house. And I gave her 2 drawings on the house. And I gave her 2 drawings on the house. And I gave her 2 drawings on the house. And I gave her 2 drawings on the house. And I gave her 2 drawings on the house. And I gave her 2 drawings on the house. And I gave her 2 drawings on the house. And I gave her 2 drawings on the house. And I gave her 2 drawings on the house. And I gave her 2 drawings on the house. And I gave her 2 drawings on the house. And I gave her 2 drawings on the house. And I gave her 2 drawings on the house. And I gave her 2 drawings on the house. And I gave her 2 drawings on the house. And I gave her And I would have just given her all of them. If I had known that she had no money and whatever, I would have said, hey, like, just take them. Like, happy birthday to your husband. It's great that you're doing this. And, and maybe there was some truth to the things there was definitely some truth to the stories she was telling. It's just, I don't know. I feel really horrible for this person. And I hope that person does have a good life. And I hope that she does remove herself from that hellish lifestyle before it ends up destroying her and her family, if she actually does have a family and all that. And I just know that, things aren't as bad as you think they are. And it could be worse, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. It could be that person who's got to keep up with all of that stuff. But anyway, love you guys. Bye.